So there's like 3 hi and welcome chats: Sean, Vishal, James, and then Macias said bye chat. Makes me laugh. Lou, how can I put WannaCry malware on my old high school's district? Don't know. Scott says, to be honest, I'm no bueno at Leetcode challenges. Fair. I think probably a lot of people would say that about themselves. I'll talk about that more in a minute. Ashish Hardik on YouTube. Welcome. Zane on Twitch. What's going on? Welcome, everyone. So this series, nice t-shirt. Thank you. This is one of my favorites. It's like often one of my speaking shirts. I try to do like colorful polos for speaking. And this is one that my in-laws got me. Yeah. So this session, this is something I've been doing inside of Discord for a while. And I thought it could be useful for more people. So to do this more openly on a live stream. Also, we only got a few people in Discord join, and it was usually the same couple of people. So I want to do this more just to see if we could get more people involved. And the goal of this is really not for me. Like I'm not going through and doing technical interviews at all. I really want to use this as like a teaching thing for people, and hopefully use this as a way for people to kind of learn more and prepare for interviews themselves. So quick question for people, like if you had to rank yourself, this is silly, but if you had to rank yourself on experience with this type of problem, how would you rate yourself 1 through 10? And then also there's another question I wanted to ask. Oh, how many people are maybe looking for jobs where technical, like live coding interviews are part of your process? Love to hear that feedback from people. Zane is asking if we're live on Discord. Also, no, I'm not live on Discord, just live on Twitch. So in Discord, it has the link to get to here. Let's see. And I can put, for anybody that's not in Discord, there's a link if you're interested in joining. That's what we're talking about. And we got people all over the world: Nepal, India, Ghana, Brazil. Very cool. That's really cool. What's Twitch? Twitch is a streaming platform. So doing live streams like I'm doing in YouTube. And someone said, Lou says channel teaches you a lot. I'm glad to hear that. That makes me happy. Someone else said didn't know you streamed. Yes, off and on. I'm still trying to like build up the consistency. Sunil says ex Google and ex Intuit software engineer. If you're ex Google, I imagine you're very good at these types of things. I've done the Google final interviews with live coding like all day long twice, and I did fairly well, but didn't get the job either time. Oh, Hardik, you're saying what is my handle for Twitch? I'll put a link in the chat, but it's the same thing. So my handle is the same everywhere. James Q Quick. Kenya, Brazil again. Very cool. Nice. Yeah, I'm curious how many people are looking for developer jobs, and maybe live coding is part of what you'll have to do. And as we go through this, Arpon, how can I be benefited with these streams? Great question. Well, one, you can ask questions about anything that you want. This is specifically like live coding time. So if you have questions about algorithms, about big O notation, about live coding, suggestions, that sort of stuff, feel free to ask them, or just kind of sit back and take in what's here. I'm not an expert in this by any means. I haven't like done anything deep in algorithms and data structures and stuff at all recently, other than doing some of these challenges. And most of these challenges have been easy and medium, again, just using it as a teaching one. The first one that I have here is listed as hard, and this is just sent by someone randomly on Twitter, so we'll see how it goes. I don't think I can do it, to be honest, without having to look something up, but maybe with a collaborative discussion in the group, we'll figure it out together. So I'll send, let me go and share what I'm looking at, this one here, and looking for jobs or maybe creating a job. Interesting. Martin, great shirt. Thank you. I appreciate that. I love this shirt. Let's see. All right, let me put a link to this for everybody to have in case you want to try it out and follow along. Cypher says, question, how do you approach learning a new framework? I think that's a great question. I think a to-do app, as simple as it seems, is like definitely the way to go. Some combination of a to-do app, because if you think about it, like almost everything we build is a CRUD app in some sense, right? Like create, read, update, delete. Everything we build does some version of that. And a to-do app is a CRUD app, right? So you can start really basic of like, how do I just render static HTML to the page? Then if it's a full stack framework like Next.js, how do I like request information from the back end to display it? How do I then like add something which sends a request to the back end, saves it to database, etc.? Then maybe in Next.js, I get into server actions. Then maybe I get into like authentication. You can progressively like build out a to-do app into something that teaches you all the things that you want to learn. Anyway, so specific steps, I just build stuff really. Like I usually watch a video on YouTube as a quick intro, and then if I want to get into it, I go and build something. So and Otto, not sure how to say that name. It looks Greek, maybe. I've done more than 4,000 code tasks in Code Wars. Wow. You think that task solving is a good thing for developers? I think there's mixed feedback on this. I think that it's a great way to practice. It's a great way to learn. It's a great way to I guess both of those things. So learn data structures, algorithms, pay attention to ways to optimally solve problems. I think those are great exercises and learning opportunities. I don't necessarily think that live coding, that type of thing, is the best way to gauge somebody in an interview. Unfortunately, though, that is what a lot of companies use to gauge people in interviews. So it's a great learning experience. I don't think it's the best way to gauge somebody in an interview, but if you're having those types of interviews and you want that job, you have to go and be successful in those interviews. So preparing for it is something that you have to do, regardless of whether or not you think that that it's worth your time. I already worked for 2 agencies. A friend is dead. Never had to solve a challenge. Is this only the case for the size of companies? This will vary greatly. So I have done Google interviews twice. That was a lot of live coding. I did some very basic live coding interviews for a software engineer position that I applied for and got but didn't take. And those were pretty basic. I have not done any live coding in any of the DevRel interviews that I've had. That's probably not a surprise, but I would say it's fairly common, but it's not everywhere for software engineering roles. So it just depends. Learn deeply about algorithm is enough to get through Leetcode interview process. It's more than just learning the algorithm. It's knowing how to apply it and when, and then compare and contrast algorithms, and then understanding the implications, performance, and space-wise of the different algorithm that you choose and being able to articulate that. I think there's also the small things in live coding interviews of how to maintain your calm, how to maintain focus, how to explain what you're doing as you're writing code, which is not an easy thing to do. I think a lot of those interviews are more about your thought process and being able to communicate that as much as it is the technical solution that you actually come up with. Couldn't do it on my own at first, but this is a pretty good question after seeing the solution. Gunjon, are you talking about the question that's on here now? We can start to kind of talk through that and see. We'll do that. If people have questions, this is meant to be more of like a practice and teaching thing and learning for me, because I think there's going to be a part of this that I don't know how to do right offhand. Gunjon, nice. Yeah. One thing I ask people not to do is don't just like add a solution in the chat, just so if other people are working on it or if they're figuring it out, don't just add a solution in here. But feel free to comment, ask questions, give suggestions, etc. You know, a tool doesn't mean you know how to use it. Yeah, exactly. Enterprises always do live coding. Startups usually just try to understand if you know what you're doing. Depends on the level of the role. Yeah, there's like, it just depends. And I think what you have to do individually as people are looking for jobs is research that interview process, ask about what to expect, and then use that to influence how you prepare, obviously. Bob joined on Twitch. What's going on, Bob? Bob is part of Scrumba, which is an awesome platform. If people haven't seen this before, I actually have an affiliate link somewhere that I don't have right on me. But Scrumba is a great learning platform where people are looking for a place to just to learn more. They have AI. I don't know, Bob, do they have like data structures and algorithm stuff? That'd be a good place to send people to. Alexander said, would you apply for a software engineer role? Previously working as web dev, I always think of software engineer as something more advanced. Titles vary. Titles change company to company, so I wouldn't be too intimidated by that. I would look at what the responsibilities are in that role as listed on the job description and just think about if that's something you can do. So, yeah, I wouldn't overthink the title itself. If it's something you can do it. Harpon, do you do these streams on a regular basis? I have been streaming inconsistently for a few months. I go through phases. I think I want to turn this into a weekly live stream. So hopefully I'll be doing this more consistently on Thursdays. Bob says maybe have a course on that coming out soon. Bob, if there is one and you have a link, feel free to put in the chat to share. Lou, I'm just listening. This is basic shit I need to hear. I've been learning JavaScript and Python. My brain is hurting. Fair enough. Just know as you're going through the learning process, if you feel like you're struggling, that's how everyone is. That's how everyone goes through it. You're not on your own. So I have solved this problem. Yeah, so that is heartache. So that's an answer that I wouldn't know. I don't know how to solve this right offhand. So anyway, where's all this chat happening? Yeah, so I'm on YouTube and Twitch. Bob is asking, is there a Discord channel you're using too? Yeah, so this is on Twitch, Twitch and YouTube. Yeah. Todd on Twitch, what's going on? What's up, Todd? It's actually strange. For my highest paying role, the interview is mainly social and tech interview where we just discuss the solution for a problem. Yeah, it all varies. Like not all companies are going to make you live code. Again, I don't think it's the best gauge of you as a person because it's not realistic for us to be locked in a room without being able to Google and having to solve problems. That just doesn't make sense. So, all right. Bob on YouTube. Nice. So let's read through the problem really quickly, and I'll tell you why I won't be able to solve this problem without looking for help. I don't think, but we can talk through it and kind of figure it out together. So given two sorted arrays, and this is a big buzzword that you'll learn to pay attention to in these types of interview questions. A sorted array has very different implications than a non-sorted array. So that's probably going to it's probably going to be important in this problem. So we have first array nums1, second array nums2 of size m and n. So the length of nums1 is m, the length of nums2 is n. Return the median of the two sorted arrays. And overall, and this is a complicated part, overall time complexity should be O log of m plus n. Now, question for the group. How many people, and this is a hard problem, by the way, how many people are familiar with big O notation? There's like a delay, so I can't like immediately see results. But let me know if you have experience with big O notation. And I'm going to approach this in two different ways. I'm going to approach this with just solving it at first, and then we can talk about the performance. I am partially familiar. I believe space is memory. Dev Mommy reading a book. Is this Dev Mommy from other places as well? From Twitch, or not Twitch, from Discord? It's hard to keep up with people on different platforms. Bob says yes. Recently started understanding it better. Cool. Okay. Viparity. Yes. Awesome. Cool. I will see you in a couple weeks or next week or whatever. Kind of hard when there's recursion or backtracking involved. Fair enough. So Big O notation as a whole is a way to measure two different things. It's a way to measure time complexity of algorithms, and it's a way to measure space complexity of algorithms. So how much space does it take to write this algorithm, or how much time does it take to run this algorithm? Anytime you see log of something, that's usually an indication that this is a pretty performant algorithm. Usually, anyway, that's probably an indication that it's pretty performant. It also means you're probably doing something like a binary search, which somebody already mentioned, which I can't do from scratch. I have no idea how to do it from scratch. Zane says, not in detail, just had a glance at Big O. Yeah, fair enough. So it's basically a way to define most often we're talking about time complexity. How long does it take to run? So this actually really changes the way that you solve this problem. And I think that's part of the reason why it's marked as hard, is because you have to have this time complexity. But if we look at the problem, so let's say we have two arrays. We have, the first one is 1, 3. The second one is 2. We basically create a merged array of this, and then we find the median in there. So median is going to be, if it's an odd number, and I may make some notes myself, odd number of items, then median is the middle item, which would be, let's see, what does middle item is the array dot length. So we take the length of the array, divide by 2. So if we have 3 items in here, we divide by 2, we get 1.5. And if we round that up, does this work consistently? If we round that up to, no, we want to round that down. So we want to floor that. So it would be math floor like this. So for an array of 3 length, we divide that by 2, we get 1.5. We round that down to 1, and that would be the index of where this item is. Let's just make sure if we have 5 items, we divide 5 by 2, we get 2.5. We round that down with floor, we get 2. So 0, 1, 2 should be the middle item. So if we have an odd number of items, then the median is just the middle item. If we have even number of items, the median is the average of the 2 middle numbers. So for an even number, or maybe the 2 middle items would be, if we did array length divided by 2. So if we have 4 items and we divide by 2, that gives us 2. So it would be this and array dot length divided by 2 minus 1. Does that make sense? So if we have 4 items, we take length is 4, we divide by 2, which gives us this index. Then we also want the one before that, which was this one. So that minus 1. If we had 6 items, we divide this by 3, we go index 0, 1, 2, 3, and then we get the one before it. So then we take those and average them. Makes sense so far? Am I also like, I mean, that's something I should be able to do. Hopefully I'm doing that right. We'll see. Bob, books aren't normally the best way of learning, but grokking algorithms is one of the best written books I've ever come across regarding data structures and algorithm stuff. Bob, do you have a link to that book? And I have definitively found, like, I did data structures and algorithms in college. I took classes. This stuff never made sense until I just started writing code and seeing it and kind of feeling it and experiencing it. Like, it just never made sense until actually translating it to like hands on the keyboard code. So Nietzsche, why am I leak coding? Just because I think it's a fun exercise for people and a learning opportunity for me and for other people. So that's it. That's all. Yeah. All right. So as you go through these, pay attention to your examples to make sure you understand the logic of what's happening. Make sure that you, as much as you can through here, understand the problem. This is a point where in interviews you should be asking clarifying questions. you should be paying attention to the constraints. In this case, it's saying that we can have an empty array, which is fine. But the array items are going to be less than 1,000. Cool. And the total number of items is going to be, oh, that's interesting, greater than or equal to 1 and less than. So that means at least one of the arrays will have something in it, if that makes sense. Do people get this logic? So like each individual array can have nothing in it. They can have a length of 0, but between the two of them, one of them has to have something. So the total number of items in the first array and the second array is at least 1. Solving this in logarithmic time is a toughie. I don't know how to do that. So this is going to be an exercise where we do a step, and then either somebody helps me or we go and figure out how to do a binary search to use that. So you can also check if the first item in the array is, if the first item in the second array is bigger than the last item in the first array, no merge is required. You can do that. I don't think that's going to have performance implications that really matter, because you typically like base your time complexity on worst case. But yes, you actually can do that. Some value in both arrays. That's the simplest idea on Switch. Says you binary search. You can count how many elements there are less than some. Interesting. Okay. So that, and this is, I do not have final solution in mind at all. So I'm going to start with a solution, and then we'll start to do more of the stuff that actually gets us to the real solution. So the first thing is how to merge two sorted arrays. So once we get a merge sorted array, again, non-optimal solution. So we'll just start with something. Once we get the merge array, we can find median in merged array and return. I think we return the actual number output. Yeah, so we'll do that. So to have our merge sorted array, we're going to create an initial array, empty array of merge, and we're going to say we need to iterate through both arrays at the same time, basically. And we need to compare a given item in the first array with a given item in the second array, and then add one of those to our merged array. So we're basically going to have 2 pointers, and we can call this, it'll be a let pointer 1 equals 0, let pointer 2 equals 0. And those pointers are going to be used to iterate through the respective nums1 and nums2 array. And so we want to have a while loop, and we want to continue the while loop while either one of the pointers is not all the way to the end. So while pointer 1 is less than nums1.length, or pointer 2 is less than nums2.length. And people check me as I'm writing this code as well. Name is Anton. Oh, Anton, thank you for clarifying that. You don't need to merge both arrays because that would be O of n implicit is much bigger than needed. Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. I will come back to a more optimal solution. So starting with something simpler and then figuring out what that solution, because I don't know what the actual more performance solution is right offhand. So I'm using this as an exercise, and then we'll evolve into the bigger one. Length would be +1 of index. Are you saying that this condition is not right? So what I want to say, I think this is right, because we'll process. Is this hard problem? I'm scared of them. Yeah, it is. I think this is right because we'll process the last item, which will be length -1, and then we'll increment that after to where it's beyond the array, which is the value of the length, and then at that point we don't have an item. So yeah, so at this point we can someone said you forgot num.length. Oh, nums1.length. Oh, is that what you were saying? You have type. Yeah. Okay. So I think that's what you're saying. Cool. The writing code and having delay in there is tough. Yeah. Got it. Sean, Ivan, Neil. Thank you. So I think we can say like if the pointer 1 is greater than equal to nums 1.length, then we will take the item. So if we've already exhausted all the items in nums 1, we can take nums 2 of pointer 2, and we can push that onto the merge array. So merge.push that, and then we want to increment the pointer 2, and then we can have an else for the opposite condition of pointer 2 is greater than nums 1 greater than equal to nums 1.length. That should be nums 2, sorry. And then we'll basically do the same thing here, but this will be for, I did all of this wrong. Nums 1, and then this is nums 2 and pointer 2 plus plus. Okay. Oh wait, no, it was right. This should, sorry. I'll come back and explain why in a second if that's not clear. All right. This is the shit they needed to be teaching in school. I think it's valuable. So hopefully it is. So Hardik is asking on Twitch, where's the value comparison? Great question. So the reason what I'm doing right now is first checking 2 base cases where one of these arrays we've already exhausted. So if pointer 1 is greater than the length of the array for nums 1, then that means we don't have anything left in array 1. So we're just going to push on array 2, and then we're going to increment or the item at that index from nums 2, and then we're going to increment the pointer 2. Now on the flip side of that, if pointer 2 is already beyond the length of nums 2, that means that array is exhausted, it's gone. That means we can just push on nums 1. Otherwise, we want to say, and actually maybe this is cleaner, I don't know, but cur1 equals nums, I'm just going to set variables for this, nums 1 of pointer 1, and let's duplicate this for cur2. Although one of those may be undefined. Does that get into issues? It may get into issues if you compare. Anyway, maybe we'll skip that. Because I don't know if you compare undefined to be greater than something, the check might be messed up. So in this case, we have we haven't finished either one of our arrays, and we want to compare if pointer 2, if nums of 1, it doesn't matter which one we compare first, but if we get the item in the first array and it's greater or actually less than nums 2 pointer 2, we want to do this also. And then we have an else, and we'll do this. And after I write this, let me think through to make sure it makes sense. So if we're ordering these from least to biggest, from small to large. So if we say that the item in the current index in the first array is less than the one in the second one, let us add that item and then increment pointer 1, pointer 2 stays the same. Otherwise, we do the opposite. Curve val, yeah, you can check undefined less than number. How does undefined, let me actually test that. A question here from Neil. So if I understand this, the while loop is just iterating through both nums list via the pointers, and the if statement is just pushing the values onto the merge list. Yeah, so the while loop is making sure we're able to iterate through all the numbers in both arrays. That's what the while loop is. And then our if loops are checking which one of those items in what order we put them onto the merge list. Grim is saying you can, cannot. Yeah, thank you. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's why I didn't assign these to variables, because then inside of here, Well, I guess that could still work. Yeah, I guess we could. So if I said const cur 1 equals nums 1 pointer 1. Sorry, I thought I was going to end up doing a comparison there, but I'm not. And then I had a num or a cur 2 pointer 2. Then inside of here, I can have cur 2 cur 1. That'll clean this up a little bit. Cur 1 cur 2 cur 1. Am I replacing all of these correctly? Cur 2. I thought I was going to do comparisons if one of them was undefined, but in this case, neither one should be undefined because we've already accounted for that up here. I think that's right. Okay. Scott, if we didn't want an optimized solution yet, we could have used concat method for nums2 onto true. We could use built-in functions, and that would be a good call out to say like, hey, I could just use a built-in sort function in JavaScript. And they may want you to write that from scratch. They may not, but that is always a good place to start, just to show that you have a familiarity with the language, to use what's there, and then you can go deeper if they ask you to. Do they say that the arrays will always have positive numbers? No. So they can be negative or positive. So that does make that comparison hard. Yep. Okay, so we have our while loop that should create our merge. And then we can say let median equals, or just let median and log in, which is no good. Yeah, so Ben, we haven't gotten to performance conversations. So yes, concat and sort will in log in, which is no good. Concat and sort. So sort would be log in. Unless I'm blatantly missing something. I actually think that's not true. Because it wouldn't be n times login. Because, or wait, sort. Maybe it was. So sort is n, optimal sort is n login. No, just login. Where, I hate log stuff. Sorting a list. Oh, the reason why this is different is because these arrays are already sorted. Gotcha. Concat and, but the concat shouldn't merge. Okay, got it. So the reason I was confused or like overthinking that, one, I forgot that the arrays are already sorted. When you compare, I was thinking that the concat didn't really make that more complicated, but it's the fact that you're running a sorting algorithm versus taking advantage of the fact that you already know that they're sorted to start. So by merging these, we're not actually having to do a full sort on an unsorted array. We're just putting them together in the right order, which is faster. Cool. Good point. Thank you for clarifying that. Okay, so for the median, I don't know, is there a math.median in an array or array.median? Array median JavaScript? Or like medium item? Probably not. Not like a built-in function, I don't think. Yeah. So we can say if the sort merge length mod 2 equals 0. So if it's even, then what did we say down here? Then we take both of these. So we say const first equals this. Const second equals this. And set the median to be first plus second. divided by 2. We could also not create a variable here and just do the return right here. Otherwise, if it's odd, then we take the middle one and just return that. And this is, I missed one thing. So this is the index that we're looking at. So we should do merge at that index. And the same thing up there. So it would be merged at that index. And then same thing in this one, merged and that one. That look right? The big Q is live. Let's go. What's up, Sony? Which sort? Merge sort would be O log of n, but it's not really performant for sorted arrays. Which sort? Merge sort be O log n, but it's not really performant for sorted arrays. Wait, but why would you use merge sort on a sorted array? Heartache, I think I caught what you were saying, and I think I fixed that part, which is yeah, the values at the index, not the index itself. So, and then in here we return this. Return merge. Yeah, saying I was just missing the return, I think. So that's exactly what I did. Well, I think we're good. Anton, is that a Greek name, by the way? Matrusanka. Hello. JS Leetcode as it should be. Get out of here, Python. I just don't have any experience in Python. Okay, so I'm curious now. Again, we're not addressing performance. We're just coming up with a solution. I'm curious if this works. Will it tell us if it like passes the answer but not the performance? Oh, yeah. Merge. Try that again. Case. Output, not a number. Fun. Also do math.floor and even first condition. This was... I think I thought this through, and it doesn't need to be math.floor on the first. More viewers on YouTube than Twitch. Which platform do you personally prefer to be viewed on? Twitch has more built in to engage with, so I would typically say Twitch, but it doesn't make a whole lot of difference to me. First and second divided by 2. First and second. So it's not a. That's not meant to be a floor, I don't think, because we have decimals in here. 39. Right, so we're okay. YouTube Live is boring without all the fun stuff. Twitch provides. Yeah, there's definitely more built into Twitch that helps. So yeah, Arctic, these can be decimals. One thing I would like to see is, am I calculating merge correctly? So if I just log merged in here, std out 1 2 3. So that looks like it's happening correctly. What problem? Oh, good question. I haven't posted this in the chat in a while. So here's the link to the problem. This is median of 2 sorted arrays. So let's see what I got wrong. So if merge.length mod 2 is 0, so if it's an even number, we want to get merge.length divided by 2. So that's the index, and we want to get that item. It's a Russian name. You got the error. You got error in last string. It must be like this: return merge floor, the index, not the result. Okay, where am I missing this? The index is Okay. So you're saying, and I think I think I mixed the two. Yeah. So this would be dot length divided by 2. That's what you're saying. Do you use Shodan at all? No. What is that? Also, index should be int, not floor. All right. Let's make sure I got one thing first. So in the odd case, we want to take the length of the array divided by 2 and then floor it, and that's going to give us the index. And we want to return the thing at that index. I guess before, yeah, that may have been the issue for not a number, is if we gave it an index of like 1.5, then obviously it would have an issue with that. And then someone, Hardick said also index should be int, not floor. The index. Are you saying the same thing maybe? Let me run this and see. Okay, so it actually worked, but we performance is going to be a big key here. So let's maybe talk about the performance of this really quickly. So the performance of this is we're iterating through. So this is kind of interesting. If we're basically iterating through the larger of the two, well, I guess it could be m. Yeah, I guess m plus n. So we do m plus n in the while loop because we're iterating through each element. And then we do like one calculation. So I think the big O notation of this is just m plus n. Is that right? Because we're just iterating through each array once. So it's how many items are in the first one plus how many items are in the second one. And then this doesn't take any. So this is just constant time. So for people who have experience and for people who have less experience, does that look right? O of m plus n for the time complexity of this. Hardick is asking what you optimize for, space or time complexity. Oftentimes you see, oftentimes the focus is on time complexity. I see much more of that than I do of space complexity, but it depends on like the requirements of your application. So you may have something that's running on a Raspberry Pi and you can't have as much space, but you can have something run longer. So those are just based on your requirements. Ben, were you saying right is incorrect to O of m plus n? I think that's right. Your coding skills, have you stopped broadcasting in Discord? I have right now. I thought about also keeping that going in Discord, but I don't know how confusing that would be for me or anyone else if I was doing both. I'm not sure. So for now, I'm doing it on Twitch and YouTube. Mainly, I enjoy doing it in Discord. I wish there were a few more people. So only having a couple people, I just wanted to see if I could get some more people engaged. So Ben, yeah, okay. So O of m plus n is right. Now we want to do log of m plus n. So I have no idea how to do this, but code with KG. Oh, cool, nice. Thank you for clarifying, because I don't know. It's hard following. Yes, I do remember. Hard to follow people across multiple platforms with different names. Thanks for letting me know that. So anything log like this, you typically think of binary, sort, merge, sort. I think they all have the same thing: binary and merge, sort, O of n. I think those are like in that group of ones that all have n log n, merge sort, quick sort, heap sort. There's nothing called binary sort. Is that merge sort? Anyway, so all these algorithms are n log n. The n is when we are actually sorting. And in this case, we're not sorting. we are just merging something that's already sorted. It's binary search, not sort, I guess. So what would be... So I guess somebody mentioned this earlier. Like, what if we found the middle point of one and the middle point of another, and then see how many items that, like, do we... So if we found the middle point in one, and then in the second, we searched up until we got to that point, does that give us an idea of like how many of these we would add to that before? I think it does. I think that gives... There's something to that, maybe. Ben says, I think you need to be one of those cognition kids to solve this. This is one of those problems. This is not something I'm good at. I don't have experience with this, like, at all. So this is not something I would be able to do well at all without, like, practicing and trying to figure this out. But I think there's actually something to that, right? And I wonder if you, like, pick... I'm thinking as you cut down, like if you have a pivot point in the first array, or you just catch the median of the first array, do you then say how many items go into, like, count up until that point and then split that array? I don't know. Searching in separate arrays also not work because median can only be in one array. Yeah, I'm wondering if you can just, like... Can you somehow calculate... I think the idea is you somehow calculate what the median is in the resulting merged array without actually doing the merge. And I'm thinking there's something probably with pivot points of, like, I find a pivot. This is my very, very big, deep thinking face. Ben, have you solved this, or you said you looked at the solution? Median two sorted arrays. Turn the median. So if we look at it, a couple of examples in here, we have 1, 2, and these are, like, very simple. I don't know how to do it. Okay. What are... I would like to think through Spanish playlist. It's just whatever's playing on Pretzel. Gleaton, how's it going, by the way? Let's do to... I'm just making up, like, completely random arrays. 6, 8, 10, 15, 25, 35, 40. Just making completely random arrays. If we start here at this pivot point, we say, okay, we have a midpoint of 7. Do we only have to count? Oh, gosh. I have no idea. So if we look at the 7 and we say we have 2 and 5 before, or if we look at the 7 and then we count up to 7 here. Okay, let's do this. Let's say the midpoint of this is 7. If we had an array where all of these items were above that midpoint, then this array then we would throw these into that, and then our midpoint would be somewhere in this array. One array could be 1 at 10, while the other is 1, 1,000, 2,000. Yeah, it could be anything. I have no idea what the actual logic is to figure that out. But if we have a midpoint where all of these are greater than this, does that actually give us anything? Do we... Someone had, I don't know if they had solved it or just an idea, like early on in the chat, had something that I thought was helpful, but I don't remember what it was. I don't want to just look up the answer. I wish someone could like help give a cue as to how to think about it. Let's look up log in algorithms. I just wonder if I could find an example of something. Oh, log in time complexity. Logarithmic, the time required to run the algorithm increases. Okay, thank you for that. That's not very helpful. It means the more you do, the less work you have to do. So the more you do is going right. Up here is the amount of work that it takes, I guess. If we had to do binary search with 2 separate arrays, that would solve binary search. But how does... But a binary search is if you know what item you're looking for. So that I don't understand. We need someone to be a gentle daddy, like the Primage during his front-end master's algo course. Give us gentle tips. Yes, that would be nice. I didn't know he had a front-end master's course. That's cool. On algorithms. It means that the time required to solve the problem increases slowly as the size of the input. Yes, the base of the algorithm is not important for bigger notation. Any logarithmic, such as... And that usually means something binary where we're dividing and conquering, dividing in half each time. Algorithm, generally considered efficient and fast, especially when compared to algorithms with higher complexities. Most common example is the binary search, which can find a specific item. Is a very good watch, also free. That's like Metruskana or Metrusanka. Do you have a yeah, feel free to put a link to that. That sounds like a great resource to share. So binary search algorithm, which can find a specific value in a sorted list of n items by successfully dividing the list in a sort. So that's only in a sorted list, which makes sense. You successfully divide the list into half each time. So you find a midpoint. You say, is my thing higher, lower, or equal to this midpoint? If it's higher, then you take the second half of the array. You never have to look at the first half. So that's how that works. Other examples, and I'm wondering if there's, can you like if you applied that idea, can you look at get the total elements, which is m plus n. Can you get the total number of elements and then basically decide like if a given number is so low, it's not going to be the midpoint and then go beyond it? Like, is that the approach? So as an example, and these are like skewed use cases. If I start with 2 here and I say, all right, well, I was going to say, so if I have a 2, How do I gauge this? I almost want to like do a separate stream for this. I feel like I'm close and I just can't quite get there to thinking about this. So if I look at 2, I know that it's a good mental puzzle. Yeah, y'all are just watching me like fumble around, which is fun for me. But my idea is that if I do this enough, I will also get better at these. And then I don't have any like engineering interviews coming up, but I could get better at them. And then also I would like to turn this into content. So keep an eye out for that too. So yeah, I think it's fun. So if I look at this too, And this is a very trivial example, but let's just start with one array. If I look at 2, I know since this is the first item in the array, again, this is trivial. That means everything to the right of it is bigger. And I know that this array has 3, 4, 5 elements in it. That means that at index 0, since this has 4 elements that are bigger, I know that can't be a mid. Does that make sense? It's something like that. It's something about knowing how many elements are bigger or less than a given element, and then using that as a pivot to continue to get better. Because I know, so if I do binary on this, I wonder if you end up doing binary on both. Still, yes, good point. So what I've been over trivializing this to try to get some ideas in my head and not addressing the fact that there's 2 arrays quite yet. But maybe we do we cut each one in half somehow? So if we look at, oh, this might actually get interesting. Let's do 1, 2, 3. So let's add another number here. So let's say we have 2 easy midpoints. We have 7, and then we have 25. Why not merge, sort them, and then binary search? So for the reasons that not Caleb, what was your Ben? Sorry, Ben mentioned earlier. If you merge and sort and then binary search, well, binary search still doesn't quite apply because we're not searching for a given element. So you could do an algorithm like that, like a divide and conquer algorithm, but it wouldn't be binary search specifically. But then what you're saying is do a merge, sort them, and then binary search. So the merge and the sort part, that takes time. And so our ultimate goal, I can't remember if you were here for the beginning, is to do this in log n m plus n time. And so merge sort takes time, and then binary search would take time as well, which would result in a longer time than log of m plus n. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. I have an idea. We have a midpoint here. We have a midpoint here. If we compare these 2 numbers, we know, but the length of these may not be exactly the same. So if we compare the 2 midpoints, we know how many items are to the right of this and how many items are to the right of this. Right? So we kind of look at a half here and a half there. So do we somehow translate this to getting rid of, so if 25 is greater than 7, do we just look at whichever has more points to the right? So if this one has more points to the right, we can probably assume that we just want the higher numbers here. I think this is starting to maybe make sense. So then we just take what's after that. Then we go here. And then we say, all right, we're comparing 10 and 25. I don't know how we choose, if it's just 2 elements. I don't know. I guess we just choose the first one. I think we could do that arbitrarily. So let's say we do this. We choose this one. It's still less than 20. Or no, sorry, wrong thing. We're comparing how many items are to the right of the pivot point. So this one has 3. That one has 1. That means that then next step is we just take 20. There may be some combination of checking which one of those is greater too. And since this is greater, it's something like this. I feel like I'm so close. Since this has more items to the right and it's greater, I think there has to be some combination. And it's greater. Gosh, I'm not quite there. It's something close. Anton says, look, get 2 midpoints. There's number 7 that are less than the first midpoint and 3 numbers more than the second midpoint. You may cut arrays first without first 2 numbers and second without last 2. So you're saying cut both of them? Anton, do you actually know what the solution is, or are you brainstorming ideas? Half array A, half array B. If A half greater than the same again with the first half of A, half array A, half array B. If the midpoint of A is greater than midpoint B, do the same thing again with the first half of A, second half of B. Does that work? Okay, so you're saying if we start here, we have these two where 7 and 25. And since midpoint of A is less than, we're going to take 10 and 20. And then we're going to take the first half of this one, 8, 10, 15. Is that right? And then this one, we've got 10 and equal to 10. So it doesn't really matter which one we take. So we could take 20 and 8. Anton, don't know the answer. Just make it. Okay, cool. I didn't know if you like specifically were leading me directly to the answer, or if we're just like discussing it. Cool. This is great. Approximately after each step, number of elements will be, yes, agreed. Number of elements will be 2 times less, which I think Steel Toad on Twitch is onto something. And I've been really close. I'm just trying to make this like really concrete. So the median here would be those 2 divided by 2. So let's say we actually did combine this array. I just want to figure out what the answer would be. So we have 8, and then this has 8, and then 10, and then 8, 10, 10, 15, 20, 25, 35, 49, 55. Is that right? 2, 5, 7, 8, 10, 10, 15, 20, 20. I think that's right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, which means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. So those 2 would be the midpoints. 10 plus 15, 25 divided by 2 versus 28 divided by 2. Del modulus 2, if equals 1, there's a midpoint. Length of the array divided by 2. Final value. Yeah, so how you calculate the midpoint when it's an even number is arbitrary, I believe. You can do either way. So Cosme is saying merge both arrays and check the length. Cosme, that's the solution that we did at first. The specific requirement in this problem is to do this with log m plus n time complexity. That's where things get complicated. So we've actually done the solution that you're talking about, and maybe K-Torn, what you're saying on Twitch as well. Add the numbers and divide by 2. Yeah, so calculating midpoints is not something we're I don't think it's something we're missing right now. I think the logic of how to get the rest of the arrays is what's missing. Or how to divide the arrays at each step, I guess. If length is even. Yeah, so Cosmo, we actually, we did that very early on. We have that exact same logic here. And we use that in our code above to get the midpoints, but we are specifically looking to implement an algorithm that matches log of n plus n. I wonder if I did this. Median does not equal average. That's a great point. But it does mean if you have an even number of items, it does mean the average of the two middle items. That's right. Correct. So if you have an odd number, it's just the middle item. That's not the average of all the numbers. But if you have an even number of items, it is the average of the two middle numbers. Yeah, K-Torn is saying, yeah. So exactly what I just said. Uncoded Twitch, what's up? How's it going? Let's try this again. I think I might have been slightly off on something. Let's say we have our midpoints and 7 and 25. Let's say that 25. Okay, so if 7 is less than 25, we want to take all the numbers greater than 7. So we would include the 7 and get to this. I think last time I didn't include the 7, which could have been a mistake. And then we want to take all the numbers less than 25, including 25. So this would be 8, 10, 15, 25. Okay, from here, now we say 10 is this midpoint. And then arbitrarily, we could choose 10 as this midpoint. Since those two are equal, it doesn't matter which way we go. Let's say we treat this as if this 10 is less than this 10. So in that case, it would be 10 and 20. And then it would be 8 and 10. I think this is it. So then from here, so we get down to a point where we have 2 items. Then we can just do it again, right? Because we have 2 items, then we do it again where we say 10 is the midpoint, 8 is the midpoint, 10 is greater than 8. But it's only 2 things, so I think we would just take the other thing. But that would give us 20 and 10, which gives an average of 15. How many items was this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Which means we should be taking average of this, which is 10. So maybe that's not right. That feels right though. You need to cut arrays in the exact same number of elements. It is important. What do you mean by cut arrays on exact same number of elements? What does that mean? Is that a piece that I'm missing? So right now I've just been cutting them each array in half. Seven is less than 10. I want to get the numbers greater than 7. Number. Can we avoid combining? What if the min of nums2 is greater than? If the min of nums2 is greater than the max of nums1. Yeah, that's I was kind of thinking through something like that too. I think so. If that's the case, I think this would get it. So you cut first. So on YouTube, you cut first array by 2, nums2 and 5. And second array, you cut 35, 49, 55. So are you saying we shouldn't be cutting down the middle of each one? You want to meet 7, 10, 20. 10, 20. Anton, I'm not sure what you're saying I'm missing. Boa tarde? What does that mean? Brain too smooth for Leetcode. I need something tangible. I'm building a spreadsheet like Excel at the moment. How did it just happen again? Go away. Is this just going to continue to happen? Talking about spam on Twitch, by the way. Cut even array in half. If array length is 6, then half is 3. Take this answer and add 1. Is 4. Holy crap. Are y'all seeing this on Twitch? I've never seen it come back to back with messages. Nums 1, 1, 2, 3, nums 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. The median would be 4, right? K-Torn, yes. The median would be 4. Yes. Del Roiste, cut even array in half. If array... Oh my gosh. Wow, this... I've never seen this many back-to-back spam messages on Twitch. Coming for you, Stony. Thank you for helping me out. Mod... all right, thank you, Sony. If you could help with that, that would be absolutely fantastic. Perhaps you do 1 + 2 is 3, 4, 7, so you get 10. Target calculating. What did... Gosh. Okay, so Del Ruiste is saying cut even array in half. If array length is 6, then half is 3. Take this answer and add 1. Let's find the value of the third and fourth element in the array. So that, Del, I think that part we've already addressed. Forget about... Gosh. Spam on Twitch. Wow. Stony, let me know what I can send you later on as appreciation for doing all that. Anton said, forget about 2 array. Let's look at 1 array. If you have array 1, midpoint is 1. If you add 1 million elements before 1 and 1 million elements after 1, would still be median 1. Yeah, not sure what that example tells us. Same with 1, 2, 3. You get 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Oh my gosh! Wow, I've never seen this on Twitch. Like a spam bomb. That's crazy. Did we do this? Did we do this right? 2, 5, 7, 8. I'm gonna get rid of. I want to make this a 9, so that's less confusing. And 2, 5, 7, 8, 9. 10, 15, 20, 25, 35, 49, 55. And we're saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And so what we should come down to is the numbers 10 and 15. Yeah. Uncoded, I don't know. Can you blacklist a specific phrase? These are things I don't know on Twitch. I'm not sure. Oh, nice. Tony, thank you. Well done. Well done. Dear code, what are trying to find on line 51? So what I'm trying to see is what the final answer. So if I were to do this the traditional way, which I merge both of these arrays, what is the final result? The final result of this is 10 plus 15 divided by 2. So then I'm trying to look at, like, in my algorithm above, I look at these midpoints and I say, all right, midpoint of this one, midpoint of this one. This one's less than that one. So let's take the after here and the before here. I think that's it. So then we have 7, 9, 20. And then we have 8, 10, 15, 25, right? And then I take midpoint here, which is 9, and I compare this versus 10. And I'm choosing, by the way, I'm choosing arbitrarily the midpoint. And maybe this is not true. If you have two potential midpoints, you basically choose arbitrarily which one you want to do. Or at least when you're doing like divide and conquer, you do. So based on that assumption, take this and everything. But I'm cutting off more. Is this what someone was saying earlier, where I'm cutting off two, like I should cut off the same amount of numbers? Because like in this one, I'll be cutting off 2 numbers versus this one, I'll only be cutting off 1. So if this became 9, 20, and this one became 10, 15, 25. Then I would look at 20 and actually I would look at 9 and 15, which would give me to 20 and 10, 15. Actually, no, it would be the opposite. It would be 20 is greater than 15, so it'd be 15 and 25. Hey, you three. You may want to set a minimum account age on your chat rules, so new accounts have to be verified. What do you mean by I'm here? I hear you 3 times now. I'm going nuts. But this should have been 10. No, actually, in this case, we would choose to keep the pivot. Pivot is, no, that's not right. Maybe if it's 2 of them, we just keep the pivot. Moderate on mobile. Oh, doing that on mobile does suck. So if we decided to keep that pivot, then we would be left with 9 being less than 15. Which means we would take 10 and 15. You get 2 midpoints. Common midpoint is between them always. And nums, which less than small midpoint, nums, which more than big midpoint, are useless and can cut them. And you get 2 midpoints. So you're saying when I get, that sounds like what I'm doing, right? You're saying if you get a midpoint of 2 different arrays, the overall midpoint between those merged arrays is going to be in the middle of those, which means like if this number's higher than this one, take all the numbers above this one and all the numbers less than this one. Which I feel like I have that logic. I'm just missing some like small detail about how this turns into. But you must cut same number of nums from start and end. I'm not sure that's fully true. Or maybe it is. Because I get down to like doing this logic, it's a use case of like, what do I do when I have 2 or less than numbers? So if I have 1 here, do I just choose these 2? And if that's the case, then that actually works. So I banned the term viewers and followers. Thank you, Stoney. I appreciate all your help. That was a mess. I've never seen anything like that on Twitch. Monaco, Lisa, what's going on? Welcome. Anton, only this kind of transformation is good. Meaning, cut the. Yeah. I think I just don't know programmatically what to do when I get down to 2 or 1 left. Oh yeah, sir. Yeah, it's tough. Having different names in different places makes things really tricky. So okay, here's the thing. I think this is working. The answer is, what do I do when I get down to 2 elements? Tolkien, this is hard, I believe. Yeah, hard. If I get down to 2 elements here on one of them, then I just like take the other ones, right? Or maybe it's if I get down to 1. Seems if the merged array length is even, you have 2 numbers, and if it's odd, yes, Ivan. Yeah, that's been it's funny, people are jumping in at different points. We've talked through that like very early on. When we have a solution to this, it's just not the right algorithm, performance wise. So what recursive must stop when one of the array, and I think if one of them only has 1 element, do you just take the midpoint of the other one? That may be part of the answer. So if the length of one of them, when the length of one of them gets down to 1, you just take the midpoint of the other. But I don't know what to do, like in this scenario where I have 9 and 20. I don't know what the logic is to say, like, all right, my calculated midpoint would be here, based on my definition arbitrarily of a midpoint. Because I don't know if I have 2 items, do I just take 1? Do I just take the first one? Or I just take what the midpoint is? I guess I could have that logic. Write out 2 random arrays. O of n, E array has 5 digits, and second has one array has 5 digits, and second has, what are the digits that you're saying in the second one? I need to go, by the way, in a minute. Or maybe we'll see. I'm going to start to write some code, and we'll see how this works. So let's say we'll just mutate nums1 and nums2, which we can talk about whether or not we should mutate later on. But let's say while nums1 dot length is greater than 1 and nums2 dot length that's not how you do ands, and nums2 dot length is greater than 1. Let's get the midpoint. So let's actually just create a function, get midpoint for array. And then I actually had this logic before anyway. Let me just copy it. Something like this. So inside of here, array. Oh, it's either so for this one would be get midpoint. Okay, so in this case, I'm just going to take the -1, the -1. This is array. So I'm able to relatively arbitrarily calculate my midpoint, which I think would be this. So that means in the case that the midpoint, like I have 4 items, I'm saying the midpoint is this one instead of that one, which I think is arbitrary. I think it's okay to do. And then what I'll say is mid1 equals get midpoint nums1, and then we'll do 2 of that. And then if nums1 at mid1 is greater than nums2, actually let's do less than, because I was thinking about that earlier, less than nums2 of mid2, then we want to take the second half of nums1. So JavaScript array mutate for split versus or slice. I can't remember which is which. Is it P for mutate? That's something that people use. It actually doesn't matter. Slice return selected elements of the array as a new array. That's fine. We can just set it to nums1 equals nums1.slice mid1, and nums2 equals nums2 dot slice 0 mid2. Slice should be good. Slice doesn't mutate. Slice mutates. Oh, slice does mutate. Return selected elements as a new array. I think you said the opposite. Somebody. Ivan on YouTube said splice mutates or doesn't mutate. Slice does, but slice doesn't mutate. Slice. Okay, yeah, gotcha. So slice, and I think someone said, I can't remember why this makes sense, but like they were like P for mutates, and I don't know why. Okay, so I think I'm doing that okay. So as we look at these midpoints, we take, if the midpoint on the first one is less than the bottom one, we want to go up from the first and back from the second. Does that make sense? Otherwise, we do the opposite, where nums2 1, 2, 1, 1. Slice is good. Splice mutates. Nice. I requested a shared ban list with you. What does that do? There's so many things in here. Welcome to shared ban info. Incoming requests. Affiliate. Accept. Recreate, maintain, safe space. Okay. Cool. Approved. All right. So are people following? My brain is already fried from the task I did at my job already. You're good. I've been on here. This is funny because for people that actually do this type of stuff on a regular basis, they would be laughing their ass off at how long this is taking me. But I haven't done a problem like this literally since college. Okay, so we get the midpoint 1, we get mid 2, we check the values and compare them, and then we go up from 1, down from 2, or the opposite where we go up from 2, down from 1. I'm thinking that we may. So what happens in this case? Because I think we missed something on here. where we get down to 9 and 20. And so we calculate this as the midpoint, this as the midpoint. Oh, I think that actually is right. Yeah, because if we go up from, well, no. How do we choose that? Because if we're saying, oh, we go down from this because 9 is less than 15. So we go down from that, which just includes 9. Then we get to, okay, so I think that's right. And that means at some point we get down to if num1.length is 1, return the median of 2, else return the median of 1. That makes sense. Now you know why I didn't want to be a mod. Fair enough. I don't Leetcode either. I'm too focused on actual projects, which is good and bad. Just depends on what sort of interviews you might come across. So I wouldn't overthink that. If you have an interview coming up where you have to do this sort of stuff, go and do Leetcode. If you don't, do what you're doing. Median of 2. Okay, so mid equals get midpoint nums 2. And this is not quite the right answer, but then we'll return nums 2 mid. Same thing from here. Some interviews do give you tasks from Leetcode. Some, however, give you project-related tasks. So, yeah, absolutely. Just do your research. Need to go bathe my sons, but you missed my central idea to cut the same number of elements. Now you get the wrong answer. I don't think that's true. If you know for sure, feel free to call me out. I don't think you have to cut the same number of elements because you're inherently still going to keep more elements from the one that has more elements, which will factor into the logic. I think this is okay. But Anton, check out the stream, the end of the stream later or something, or send me a message. I'd love to talk more about it. And thanks for jumping in with feedback and stuff. Appreciate it. Code Fellowship, what's up, JB? Hopefully I'm wrapping up so I can go actually eat lunch. And I think we're going to go work at a coffee shop for a little bit. So hopefully I'm wrapping up, but this is not quite true because we actually have 2 midpoints. So I said the midpoint was the -1, 1. So if nums2.length mod 2 equals 0, if it's even, then we want to return nums2 mid and plus nums2 mid plus 1 divided by 2. Kind of gross looking, but whatever. Otherwise, we just return nums2 and then this goes here for the same thing, except this is nums1. All right, I will check. Yeah, Anton, thanks again for hanging out. Good stuff. We'll be looking at this more for C#. Nice. You'll have a starting approach where you should merge the 2 arrays where the smallest array should be first. Not sure, Haniel, what you mean by that. The key thing, by the way, if you're kind of joining the stream now, the key thing that we're doing is trying to do it in this big O notation. or this performance meeting log of n plus n. And that has influence on the way we're solving this. Left side or the right element side. Dell, I think I missed a bunch of messages from you earlier. Sorry. Compare the last element of the left side of nums1 left of midpoint with the first element of the right side. Compare the last element of left side, nums1. I can't make that make sense in my head right now. I'm getting, if the first array is smaller than the second, we move the partition nums1 to the right. Yeah, that idea is what I've been doing, right? So in here we get our two midpoints. If the item at the first midpoint is less than the second midpoint, we take everything above that midpoint on the first one, everything before that midpoint on the last one. One thing I don't know, is this inclusive slice method? I bet it's exclusive. Optional in position, default is less. Optional in position. So that should be inclusive then. I'd be really curious if we logged out nums1, nums2. But I did this all over the place. If it was inclusive, not completely sure. It looks like it would be inclusive. I can almost guarantee you it's not going to work, but we'll take a look. Runtime error 10 plus 15. Oh. Apparently this isn't valid code. What? How is that not valid code? Oh, I don't need to say this. Line 23. Nums1. I bet I did it all over the place. Yeah, thanks, Ivan. I heard you talking. I thought you were on a call. I need to wrap up. To you. All right, I need to go. I'm being beckoned. All right, I think we're very close. There's a live coding channel inside of our Discord. So I am too used to TypeScript. So if you're interested in following up on this, there is a channel that we have for live coding inside of Discord, and I will remember, or if someone will remind me, I'll post the solution in there after. And you can ask questions and have further conversations and stuff if you're interested. This has been a ton of fun. We didn't quite get exactly the answer, but I think we're really close. But I'm going to head out. Haven't talked to Jason in a while, but I'm going to raid everyone over to Jason's channel, Jason Langsdorff. Thank you again, everyone, for hanging out. Stoney, thanks for being a mod. Thanks, everyone, for contributing. I appreciate it. It's been a ton of fun. I will catch you all later.